Welcome into the Full Tank with Phil YouTube channel. And in this video, we are going to dive in to the NASCAR Truck Series roster moves that have taken place in this silly season and this off season. Now, I know it's mid-January. I still got the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, right? Nobody's really thinking about NASCAR just yet. And I'm sure you haven't spent too much time worrying about what the different rosters look like on the team side for the NASCAR Truck Series. But don't worry, because after watching this video, I should have you in a good spot, good foundation level here heading into the 2025 season. Because what we're going to do, we're going to talk about all the new faces and the new places that we have in the Truck Series. There are 7 full-time rides that have been filled now with new drivers into new trucks, and that's what we're going to do is break them down, make them, call them out so you're aware of anybody that's new, but also debut something new for 2025. We're going full tank ranks. I am ranking them from 7 to 1, my least favorite moves to my favorite moves, whether it's from the competition standpoint or a betting standpoint, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is lay the groundwork for some good Truck Series bets through this season, because that's what we're here to do. So let's get to it, because the Truck Series is, I think, my favorite series of the bunch. And the reason for that is it's a melting pot for NASCAR talent. We've got young phenoms kind of on their way up, shooting star type stuff. We've got guys who've been grinding for a while, getting their first shot. We've got guys in a ride that maybe is their last gasp, last opportunity to do something, do or die. Drivers who have just made this their career, full-time Truck Series. That's how they want to be. That's their ceiling. And then we've got guys that have come back down, who've taken the step to go to the Xfinity or Cup Series and said, you know what, not for me, for whatever reason, I'm going to jump back into a truck. These roster moves that we're going to break down here, we're seeing a lot of all of that, which is great. It makes me very fired up for the 2025 season, and I hope you get fired up as well at the end of this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom and rank from 7 all the way to 1 in these roster moves from the 2025 silly season. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the number 7 ranked driver, Christian Rose. Now, we don't know much about Christian Rose, and this is not me taking a shot at Christian Rose. There's a reason why I have him ranked 7 of 7, but he's going to be driving the number 44 niche truck. He's joining his teammates, Bailey Curry in the 41, Matt Mills in the 42. We've got Rose now in the 44, and the guy that we're probably going to talk about from this camp on a week in and week out basis is Caden Honeycutt in the 45. Christian Rose taking on this role. He's one of the 2 Rookie of the Year candidates in the field this year. Now, I have him ranked 7th. Let's start with his ARCA. He's a 25-year-old driver just grinding it out. This is someone who, it's the kind of guy you like to see get a full-time ride. He's just been grinding, working his tail off. Now he's getting this spot. So hoping for the best for a kid like this. In his ARCA season, though, last year, he's not lighting the world on fire, okay? 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s. He's not winning races, and he's going to a team that I'm a little skeptical about the equipment. We look at what we went through last year with the 42 truck, okay? We had Matt Mills replace Carson Hocevar in the 42 truck. We were saying that is a varsity ride. And Matt Mills really didn't do much with that 42 truck. So that leads you to believe that what Hocevar was doing in that truck was really not equipment related at all. It was really talent related, which is, sometimes the case. You would think it's a decent mix, but like if you have the right talented guy in the spot, maybe that would work. It didn't last year. So Mills has a lot, focused on him. But where I'm going with this is not lighting the world on fire in ARCA last year, coming into a team where they've got 4 trucks now, spread a little thin, and I'm not so sure about their prowess in the Truck Series anyway. So again, hopefully he can do some good things. Like I said, we'll be focused on Honeycutt probably, but I have Christian Rose ranked 7th of 7th of the moves coming into this season. So with him, we'll put a little ticker at the bottom. Okay, a little ticker to follow along with the ranks as they go through. And we're going to get to the next one here. And the next driver is another 25-year-old driver. And this is going to be the driver of the number 5 truck, vacated by Dean Thompson. This is Tony Breidinger. And yes, the next female full-time driver in the Truck Series. Big deal, obviously, for a number of different reasons. But like I said, 25-year-old driver. She's had a few stints in the Cup Series, a couple rides. She's been connected to this Tricon group. She has driven the one truck, which has perpetually been an all-star truck since it really, came about. In 2023, she drove the one truck a few times. And what I find interesting, and the reason why I have her ranked ahead of Christian Rose, is because we saw Tony put this truck 15th at 15th at Kansas, 17th at Nashville. Those are not wonky tracks. That's not a Daytona kind of fluky finish. Those are tough technical tracks, and she was able to do that with the one truck. So now she's got a full-time ride coming in now, kind of really focused. She's got all the sponsorship in the world, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But coming in from ARCA last year at Venturini, she had 11 top 10s. And I think that a lot of people see, a female driver in the Truck Series, and, the people that came before her really didn't do her many favors. And I'm really speaking of Hailie Deegan. Okay. Deegan came in, born on third, thought she hit a triple type of deal, and was not ready, was not talented enough for a full-time ride. She got multiple full-time rides. Then she got boosted up to Xfinity, failed before the season was even over. And that, really leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you get female drivers trying to make their name. They've got the sponsorship behind them. Is it like, oh boy, is this another Hailie Deegan? I don't think this is the case here with Tony Breidinger. She has been grinding, not like Hailie Deegan. She has kind of earned this spot, grinding away in ARCA, 25 years old. She's been at it for a while. So again, this is kind of a make or break year for her career. She's got a good team here. That 5 truck, I know Dean Thompson really wasn't able to do much with it. So I'd be interested to know what their goals are for this season. Are they expecting her to go out and run top 10? I would doubt that. I think top 20s, top 15s are the goals to start, and we'll see where it goes, because Dean Thompson couldn't do much with it. He's moving on. So we'll see what Tony can do. But pretty excited to see what she can do here with Tricon. So Tricon, not many Toyota trucks in the Truck Series field, but we've got a couple movers and shakers here, starting with Tony. So she'll be ranked number 6 here in our full tank rank. So let's go to number 5, and it's going to be her now teammate, Gio Ruggiero, and he is driving the number 17 Tricon truck. So Tricon, big year, right? Because you've got Corey Heim in the 11 truck, who is perpetually the favorite to win the championship last few years. And you're just wondering, what's going on, with this team. They've got 2 young drivers, a driver that they expect to win the championship, a lot of moving parts in those weekly meetings for these teams. But Gio Ruggiero is another one running for the Rookie of the Year. So it's him versus Christian Rose, and I have him ranked higher than Rose because he is that young phenom type of guy, 19 years old. Okay, he's only ran 10 ARCA races last year for Venturini, and he had 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s in those 10 races. That is phenom status here for Gio. Okay, head-to-head versus Rose in those 10 spots, 9-1. Against Tony, 9-1. So he is clearly a better ARCA driver than those two. He is moving into a truck that is being vacated by Taylor Gray, who, of the Tricon trucks not named Corey Heim, it was Taylor Gray that was the one doing the most with the ride. So I expect this guy to come in. He's my Rookie of the Year pick. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Gio will win this hands down. He's got some part-time ARCA work to do this year. He's got JGR's attention. He'll be running some ARCA races for JGR. So this is clearly a driver to watch. And so keep your eyes peeled. Maybe throughout the season, maybe we'll throw, I don't know, top fives down on this young kid, see what he's got. So Gio Ruggiero is our number 5 ranked here for the new faces in the Truck Series. Let's get to number 4. Number 4. Who is it? Corey Day. Corey Day. And this is an interesting one. I know I said 7 full-time rides. I kind of lied. I just wanted to talk about Corey Day because this is an interesting case study here. He is going to be riding part-time in that number 7 Spire truck. And what we know about that truck is, talked about the 1 truck being an all-star truck. The 7 truck is an all-star truck for Spire and Chevy. So this is the truck that we see guys like Kyle Larson driving, William Byron driving, like those types of, in the past. Corey Day is an interesting story. Another 19-year-old driver, and he signed to Hendrick Motorsports. So they don't really have a place for him. Like, he signed with Hendrick, so now he's just in that camp. He's in that world, that Chevy world, where they're going to find time for him or find seat time. He ran 4 truck races in 2024. He finished top 23 of those 4 times. So very green, but it'll be really interesting to see how he does in this truck because we know that the truck can produce good finishes. He got, if you remember, he got a lot of attention because in 2024, he won that late model race at Hickory, driving the number 88 Junior Motorsports car. And that really propelled him and put him more on the map than others. And I have to imagine played a big factor in him getting this contract with Hendrick. So I have him ranked 4th because I think that he, if you're getting signed by Hendrick already, that puts you ahead of, the other 3 drivers we mentioned previously. So again, if we could get these guys kind of matched up against each other in head-to-head matchups, I think that'd be great through the year. So Corey Day is our number 4, the core number 4 right there. All right. Now we're in the top 3, and I'm sure this is where we're starting to get some questions. All right. Do I have these rankings right? You let me know at Full Tank Phil on X and Instagram and on here on YouTube. Leave me a comment. But number 3, we're going to go with Connor Mozak. McAnally. Okay. We thought that Tricon had a lot of moving parts. McAnally also has a lot of moving parts. They are expanding to a 4-truck full-time camp this year, which is really interesting. They, have alliances at Chevy as well. So there's just kind of a constant moving around. It feels like always sharing notes. But Connor Mozak is going to be driving the number 81 McAnally truck. And he's another 25-year-old driver again, and he's been around, okay? Been around for a little bit. He's had some love in the Xfinity Series for JGR, for Sam Hunt Racing. He had 2 races in 2024 for Junior Motorsports, and that's when he kind of made his jump over to Chevy, that Chevy camp. So he raced trucks for Nice and Spire, that 7 truck last year. You mentioned being an all-star truck. Well, Connor Mozak was part of that last year. He had 6 races with 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. So I think this is a good fit. That's why I have him ranked 3rd in these roster moves. I think this is going to work out really well for McAnally. This is a team that is losing Christian Eckes. They've got, and we'll talk about who's filling in for him in just a minute, but we've got Tyler Ankrum back. We've got Jack Wood moving into a full-time ride. He's been around. That's why he's not part of the ranks. He's been driving in the Truck Series in a part-time role. Hadn't had a full-time ride since KBM moved over to Chevy. So we've got that in the 91 truck. But Connor Mozak definitely has my attention this year. We want to give him a look when it comes to top 5s and head-to-head matchups early on because he had shown last year in that Spire truck, he can get it done. He can be somebody that, keeps the truck clean, keeps it up front. So he is ranked number 3, the Full Tank ranks heading into the truck season this year. All right, let's move now to the number 2. And I think this is where it gets tricky. Who are we going to choose? Well, I'm going to stick with McAnally. Okay. Number 2 in my ranks for the truck season heading into it with the roster moves is Daniel Hemrick driving the number 19 McAnally truck. Hemrick is taking over, like I said earlier about Hocevar vacating the 42 last year, varsity ride. There are 2 rides in the Truck Series that I would want. If you were to tell me, hey, there's a truck seat open, I would have hoped it was either the 19 or the 11, because what Eckes has been able to do for the 19 truck, it's clearly a well-cleared path for a driver to come in. And I'll be honest with you, when I heard this news that he was the one to replace Eckes, I wasn't thrilled. Okay. I was like, oh, like that doesn't move the needle too much for me. Just because Daniel Hemrick, I mean, he's been a NASCAR nomad, is what I'll call it. I mean, he's had a cup of coffee in the Cup Series, right? 2024 season with Colleague. He had some 2021 success in the Xfinity Series with JGR. He had a win, 5 top 5s, right? I mean, pretty good success in Xfinity, but not sustained success. He had 2 full-time truck seasons, and the last time he was in the truck season full-time was all the way back in 2016 with Brad Keselowski Racing. So in that season, he had 11 top 5. So he was a force. He was a force, but that was, we're coming up on 8 years, 9 years ago. So tough to really jump back in. I don't know. That will remain to be seen here, but he's taken on a ride that is very, very good. So it's not the huge name that I was hoping for, but when you look at it with the stats that kind of laying out, like I said, he's been all over the place. He's had a lot of experience, didn't get a win in his time in the Truck Series, but I think after it kind of settled in, after the shock of like, wow, Daniel Hemrick, after that settled, I was like, okay, I think I'm interested in this. And he is somebody that I think we can get into from a betting standpoint when we break down the season preview stuff in a little bit. So Hemrick, he doesn't hit the number 1 on our tank ranks, but he'll be our number 2 heading into the season, driving that number 19 truck. So if it's not him, who's it going to be? Who is the number 1? It's going to be Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith coming back down to race in the Truck Series. Chandler Smith driving the TBD number for front row trucks. They don't have a number for him yet. I hope it's a good one. It better be a good one. Nothing worse than when you have a good driver with a shitty number. But he is only 22 years old. 22. That is crazy how young he is and how much he has done. His resume is crazy. He was in the Truck Series a couple seasons with KBM. I mean, he was with Toyota pretty much his whole career. So KBM, he has 5 wins in 2 seasons with KBM and was always a contender in the Truck Series. He was a force. Last year with JGR in the Xfinity Series, he missed the championship by a hair. I mean, he was just there and finished 5th in the standings, in the point standings, and was commenting like, yeah, contracts are being signed. I'm going to be out of a job. I'm going to have to go work for my dad or whatever he said. Now, I'm glad that he's not, because I love the Truck Series, like I said to start the clip, and I think this is a perfect type of guy to drop down and take on a second truck for front row, because what we saw from front row last year was the 38 truck. I was talking about the 42 earlier. The 38 truck being vacated by Zane Smith, who, for all intents and purposes, could have been talked about as the best truck driver in that whole group. 38 truck did not have success early in that season. It took about 3/4 of a year. And then finally, Lane Riggs came to play, and he came to play in a big way. So that front row team, that front row trucks program has momentum going into this season. And now you're getting a seasoned veteran, a guy who has raced in trucks full-time for a top-notch team, a guy who raced in Xfinity for a top-notch team and just missed the championship race. He's got to be hungry. He's coming down to race, I imagine, for a contract next year in a bigger series, but who knows, right? So this is a driver that absolutely moves the needle and says, yeah, he might make a run at Corey Heim, because right now Corey Heim's on a pedestal all by himself. He's lost his biggest competitors over the last 3 years. We've got Hocevar out, Zane Smith out, now Christian Eckes out. So who's going to step up and be a week-to-week rival with the 11 truck? I think it's going to be Chandler Smith, and that's why I have him ranked number 1 on our roster moves for the Truck Series this season. So let me know if you agree. I'm excited. I think that these names are going to bring a lot of good things from a gambling standpoint and just from a pure fan standpoint of the Truck Series. We'll have a lot to focus on this year. So keep your eyes peeled for some future clips here on the YouTube channel. We're going to break down some futures bets for the trucks. And if you're looking for some Cup Series action, give me a follow on Full Tank Phil, Instagram and X. And the Cup Series podcast is Full Tank with Phil, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon for some season breakdowns.